What is up, guys? This is Marcy, and I am here to give you guys an update on the status of my hair. Now, you have to pardon the fact that my setup is not the best. I could use a better camera, better lighting. However, I do need to do this update video. Those other things I will definitely take care of in due time. But check out my hair. I like it. As a matter of fact, I love it. I think it's really, really nice. I have had 2 hair transplants thus far. My first hair transplant was with Natural Hair Transplants in Fort Lauderdale. My doctor was Dr. Siegel, right? The reason why I came to them in the first place is because all up in this area around the front part of my hairline, I had hair that was missing. I had like a receding hairline, and as you can see, I have a pretty good sized forehead, and any of us girls, guys who have larger foreheads, if you have any bit of hair missing, right, it's gonna look really bad. Okay, so my problem was wearing braids, and I didn't wear my braids tight. It was never like really tight. You know how they're like, oh, you go to the Africans, blah, blah, blah. They braid your hair really tight. I never had a situation where I just had all of this tension put on my hairline like that. But the fact of the matter is that the braids being there within itself was enough to cause traction alopecia. Now, I did a consultation with Dr. Deep like maybe 5 years ago. Dr. Deep specifically specified, he was like, hey, not everybody who wears weaves, braids, and whatnot will get traction alopecia. He said it's the genetic factor. He's like, hey, if it's a genetic factor for you to go bald, if you just do any sort of weave situation, you're going to have hair erosion, where there's people who can get the skinny braids, all these tight weaves, their hair will never come out, right? So I'm guessing I'm the person who has the bald gene, right? In terms of pricing with him, I've seen the price be around maybe $15,000 to $18,000, right? And with him, he stresses having a natural hairline. Now, when he saw my hair after I had this hair transplant, he was like, your hairline is not natural because it could be more staggered. And when I first looked at it, I'm like, you know what? That is, that's true. Do I still like the hairline? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because in my particular case, you know, like I said, I had the traction alopecia. However, I also wanted my hairline to be lowered because where I'm at now, like this hairline is better than what I was born with. Like my natural hairline probably came like an inch back beyond this. Untraction alopecia related, like my natural hairline was just like about an inch higher up. So, you know, I was out here looking crazy. I was in a position where I'm like, well, I gotta wear wigs because, you know, I'm just trying to lower the look of my hairline because I'm not out here trying to look like an alien, right? So we had 2 issues. We had the high forehead. We had the hair that was thinning around the edges, so that needed to be fixed, right? I did my research. Like I said, there was Dr. Deep. There's this other doctor. I have to link his information. I believe his name is Dr. Verona, right? He does hair transplants, and he does, you know, there's different methods, FUE, FUT. FUT is basically where they take a strip of your hair out, they cut it out, they dissect it, and then they just stitch up your scalp. Whereas with the FUE, they will shave the donor area, and they have like a device that hole punches the follicle and it pulls it out, right? So with my first transplant, I had the FUT. They cut a strip of meat from the back, cut it up, dissected it, put it in the front. They shaved the front, right? With the second transplant, I had the FUE. Same deal. They shaved different areas of the back of my head. Like, if you guys want to see pictures, just email me because I'm like, I don't have chance or time really to incorporate it in the video. But I will send you pictures if you request them. They spread out the back of my head in terms of the areas that they were taking hair from. So they didn't just concentrate in one area. I got this part shaved. I got this part shaved, parts in the back. Because they're like, they have to go over the area where I already had scar tissue from my previous procedure, right? So where I'm at now, my surgery was about 2 weeks ago. And what they really focused on was this area. Because as you can see, you know, the density is probably around maybe like 40%, maybe 35, but they really concentrated up in this area, right? And they also, you know, in terms of the hairline, they did add a couple of follicles where the hairline will be staggered. So when it grows out and in, it'll be like some zigzag action because we're not trying to look unnatural like we have a wig on. However, in terms of where I'm at, I'm very happy with it because, you know, like I said, I had two different issues to tackle. I had the high forehead as well as the traction alopecia on top of that. So Dr. Siegel, he lowered my hairline by about 1 inch. And when you think about it in terms of being realistic, in my particular case, I would most certainly have to get 2 procedures because there's only so much that can be done at one time, right? I like the shape of the hairline. However, the reason why I got my second procedure with a different doctor is because Dr. Siegel specifically specified that in order to get the best result, you would have to shave the front again. For me, I'm like, you know, it just takes a really long time wearing, you know, different things to hide that. I'm like, I chose not to go with that. Okay, the other doctor that I did a consultation with, Dr. Verona, he said that he would be able to do a transplant without shaving using the FUE method. With them, the quote was around $12,000, right? Now, do I believe with Dr. Deep, could he have done everything in one go? Yeah, I believe so. I know in terms of the total price that I paid, about $15,000. The price that I paid with the doctor that I saw to get this procedure, I would say it's definitely a special price because I'm the girl, you know, I'm getting the Botox, you know, I get my cheeks done, lips done every once in a while. Like I've spent well over $20,000 with this particular doctor. So I get discounts because I have given them business over the years, you know, but, you know, the doctor did a really good job. It took 14 hours. He said normally it takes about 8 hours. It took 14 hours for me because, like I said, they had to harvest the hair and try to not compromise the integrity of the scar tissue that was back here. Because he said, well, you know, you have a scar, but it's kind of bad, you know. So I'm like, what does that mean? Because I know when I talked to Dr. Siegel's like, it looks good. And when I look in the back of my head, I see a scar. It looks clean. It doesn't look crazy or anything. And you can't really see it because, you know, I got this thick hair. You can't see it unless the hair is cut off and you're like, oh, okay, there the line is, okay? So in terms of where I'm at, like I said, I'm 2 weeks post-surgery, and I swole up pretty bad. Like, I look like, you know, I had got my ass beat, like somebody hit me in my face with 2 fists at the same time, right? But the doctor, they gave me a prescription for prednisone, right? The prednisone makes the swelling go down. I know a lot of people like prednisone, that's a steroid, I'm gonna get fat, blah, blah, blah. Just take the medicine. They gave me a prescription for antibiotics and like antibiotics, prednisone. It was something else, maybe ibuprofen 400 or something like that. But in terms of how many hairs, he said there was a little bit less than 3,000 hairs in total. So maybe like 1,500 grafts, right? And like I said, everything was just concentrated in this area. So he's like, you know, after the 16 weeks, it's going to grow in very, very thick. Now, most of the scabs that were in my head have fallen out. What I've been experiencing thus far is a lot of itching. Like, it's been itching like crazy. I made I made this. This is like my growth serum, and it has everything in it. It's going to make my hair grow long, because for those people who know me, like I had made in a video for my Facebook earlier, I'm like, you know, I have had long hair since the 80s, so I know how to grow it. You know, it's a slow and steady paced kind of deal. And with the growth, but in the process of just letting Mother Nature take its course, you just have to be very patient. Now I'm looking at it, I can see my scalp a little bit, but you know, it's post surgery. It's gonna look, after the scabs fall off, it's gonna look exactly how it looked before I had my implants. You know, your roots, your follicles are gonna go into a state of dormancy. They're gonna be sleeping for about 16 weeks, and then they are going to wake up, right? But look at where I'm at. I'm so happy of my hairline. I'm very, very ecstatic. So my recommendation would be to, again, do your research. I will link all of the doctor's information in the video so you guys can check them out. But if I had to say go to this doctor or that doctor, it really depends on what your unique case is. Like I said, with Dr. Siegel, he pretty much told me, you know, I would need 2 procedures just because of my particular case. Like if you're somebody who probably didn't need like a hairline lowering situation, maybe Dr. Siegel would be the best person to go to. You know, if you're somebody who have traction alopecia and you want your hairline lowered, you might want to go to Dr. Deep. You know, from what I've seen looking at videos, it appears that Dr. Deep can get it done in one go, right? I do recommend Dr. Siegel. I do appreciate him, and I communicate with him still. And I believe his team, they are excellent and quite awesome. I recommend them, right? But it just depends on what it is that you want to go through. Like me, I went through the course of like just having baldness and no hair at the front for like 6 months, 7 months. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that again. So let me find a doctor who can give me what it is that I need so I can feel fulfilled, right? And where I'm at now, like my hair, I've chopped it a couple times, right? And with this recent surgery, like I said, this is shaved. If you can see that, that's shaved. I'm starting from scratch, but like I said, slow and steady wins the race. I'm gonna get there. I'm very, very, very happy. My doctor here in the Chicagoland area, his name is Dr. Aboud. He's a Middle Eastern guy. It's called Charming Vein Clinics. That's the name of the business. He's a vein specialist, but he also does other services. Botox, you know, liposuction. I've had so many different things done with him. Very, very professional. And when I came to him and just told him about my issue with the hair and needing density, he's like, you know, I can definitely take care of that for you. Let me call my Middle Eastern buddies and get them up here. And they came up here and they took care of me. It was rough. Like I said, it was 14 hours and, you know, getting stuck in the head with the needle and all of this and that. It was rough, but I told them specifically what I was looking for. And I believe that the end result is going to be very, very good. I'm very optimistic. And most importantly, like I said in prior videos, you know, you need to take care of your natural hair better than you take care of weaves. Like with me, if I wore braids or wore wigs, it was to try to hide damage caused by trying to minimize the highness of my forehead, right? Which caused damage. You know, the too tight braids, it just caused all of this to erode away all high, and like, you know, that just messes up your symmetry and it minimizes your beauty, in my opinion. So I'm very happy that I got this second transplant. Just got to let it grow in, you know. So I speculate by January or so, that should fill in pretty nicely. If any of you guys have any questions, by all means, shoot me a message. No nastiness, no dirty comments. Like, there's some weirdness in the comment sections. People are like, oh, you should have never got this procedure, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to work. Well, you know what? It may not work, but I think it is. You know I haven't done anything to pop these newly implanted follicles out. I want to get on roller coasters and do all type of stuff, but I'm like, I don't even like scratch my head hard. Like, I'm like, if I'm trying to scratch it, I'm hitting it like that. There's still like some scabs, but if I'm scratching it, I'm just some light stuff, nothing crazy. But I'm like, I want to get on roller coasters. I'm afraid to like, you know, have that tension, because I'm like, I don't need this to I don't need to pop anything out. So I'm like, I'm still going to wait like a month before I do any roller coaster type action. However, again, like I said, I'm very excited. And I believe that after the 16-week period, I'm going to be extremely happy with my results. Currently, in terms of how I'm wearing my hair, I wear my wigs. And a lot of times I just wear my natural hair in twists or braids. How this is, you know, I do my whole, what's her name? Grace Jones, I'll just wear my hair up and the back down, you know. I embrace my natural hair, and my intentions are to, as my hairline fills in and my hair grows, wear clip-ins, wear things that are going to be not aggressive to my hairline, so I don't get in the position to lose my hair again. But I am happy. So if you guys have any comments, both positive or negative, leave them. Let me know what you like about this video. Let me know if you have any dislikes about the video. But my thing is just to be transparent with you guys. Just, that's it. Just keep it real. You know, there's so many women, black women, that are dealing with traction alopecia. They don't know what to do. It can be fixed, you know. It can be fixed. You just don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be having to get multiple transplants. Like, I see girls who, after the fact of their surgery, they're getting the braids and stuff. I'm like, I would never, because I'm just, you know, it's just too much money. It's too much money. It's too much time. So, yeah, that is it. My hairline, I'm like, this looks good. I love it. This looks good, you know, as is. But when it grows in, you'll see less air. You'll see less scalpiness. But look at the shape. Not bad, right? They did stagger it a little bit in some areas, like this point right here. So that is it, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, because there are so many other things that I'm going to be discussing, like how I lost almost 70 pounds in like 6.5 weeks. You know, we're going to talk about those cosmetic treatments like Botox and fillers, and how to grow your eyelashes, and breast surgery and liposuction and BBLs. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to cover in terms of the things that people are doing to level up, but there are a lot of negative things that you need to be aware of. So like this video, guys, give me a thumbs up, and you all have a fantastic night. Take care.